Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that sounds almost too good to be true, an AI strategy retreat in Finnish Lapland. We're talking about the AI Vision Quest Finland program, and honestly, when I first heard about it, I thought, executives learning AI strategy while watching the midnight sun? But Sam, the more I look at this, the more it makes sense. There's actual science behind why this model works.
Right. And that's what grabbed me too, Alex. This isn't some wellness gimmick slapped onto a corporate offsite. We're looking at research showing that nature-based immersive experiences boost creative problem-solving by nearly 50%, and that's exactly what executives need when they're trying to crack the AI ROI puzzle. The retreat is built on solid cognitive science. They're leveraging the psychological reset effect of places like Lapland to actually rewire how leaders think about AI adoption.
And that's addressing a real crisis, isn't it? Because Mackenzie's data shows 72% of executives say AI is critical to their strategy, but only 28% have actually embedded AI governance into their operations. That's a massive gap. So the retreat isn't just about learning, it's about closing that implementation gap.
Exactly. Deloitte's research backs that up further. Organizations that invest in executive AI literacy see 3.4 times faster deployment and nearly triple the ROI. But here's the disconnect. 64% of enterprises still don't have leadership that really understands agentic AI and enterprise automation frameworks. These are the technologies that'll define competitive advantage by 2026. The AetherTravel program deliberately targets that skill gap by developing what they call AI lead architects, executives who can actually design, deploy, and govern AI systems properly.
So it's not just philosophical. There's a practical output. Let's walk through what happens during these 7 days. The first couple of days focus on reset and clarity, right? I imagine showing up in the Finnish wilderness immediately shifts your perspective.
Absolutely. Days 1 and 2 begin with what they call an AI consciousness audit. Participants map their organization's AI maturity, identify personal leadership gaps, and spot blind spots. But here's the clever part. They're doing this while nature is literally resetting their nervous system. The program uses something called the AI MindQuest Framework, which integrates systems thinking, organizational psychology, and technical AI fundamentals. It's not siloed, it's holistic.
That's interesting because most AI training is pure technical or pure strategy. This sounds like it's bridging the psychological gap that usually trips up executives. But then things get really concrete in days 3 and 4, correct?
That's where it gets tangible, yes. Participants work with personal AI mentors to actually design and prototype a custom AI agent they can use in their organization. They're not just discussing AI agents in theory, they're building one. And they develop what's called a golden prompt stack, which is basically a proprietary toolkit of prompts, workflows, and governance protocols they can take back home. Gartner found that 73% of executives struggle to articulate AI ROI, so having a functional prototype you built yourself? That's a game changer for getting buy-in and funding when you return to your organization.
So, by the halfway point, executives have their personal reset, they've clarified strategy, and they've built something real. But compliance is a huge concern in Europe right now, especially with the EU AI Act. I assume that's addressed too?
It's actually day 5, and yes, it's critical. The EU AI Act is reshaping how companies can deploy AI, and most executives are still foggy on what compliance actually means operationally. EtherLink brings their consultancy expertise to this. Participants work through EU AI Act compliance and risk architecture, essentially designing governance frameworks that fit both their organization and regulatory reality. It's one thing to understand the law. It's another to know how to architect your AI systems so they stay compliant as they scale.
That's the practical bridge right there. So participants are leaving with not just knowledge, but actual artifacts. A governance framework, a prototype agent, a prompt stack. What about the final 2 days? How does the retreat close?
Days 6 and 7 are about integration and action planning. Participants develop their personal and organizational AI roadmap, not some vague vision statement, but an actual 90-day execution plan with milestones, resource allocation, and key metrics. The retreat setting makes this valuable because you're stepping away from day-to-day chaos, which means you can actually think strategically without interruptions. They're also building peer networks with other senior leaders going through the same transformation, which creates ongoing accountability.
So there's a cohort effect. You're not doing this alone. The setting in Lapland, Taiga School on Kitkajärvi Lake, that's almost secondary to the actual curriculum. But it's not really, is it? It's deliberately chosen.
It's not secondary at all. The location is strategically selected. You've got the midnight sun creating that psychological reset, complete digital detox alongside intensive learning, and positioning at an eco-certified hotel that combines Nordic sustainability principles with advanced technology. It's a metaphor made physical. Old meets new, nature meets AI, reset meets acceleration. That coherence matters for transformation. You can't rewire leadership in a Marriott conference room.
Right. The environment is doing part of the cognitive work for you. So, let's talk practicality. Who should be thinking about this program? This isn't for everyone, obviously.
It's designed for C-suite leaders, digital strategists, and innovation directors who are facing the exact tension we described earlier. They know AI is critical, but they're struggling to embed it effectively. If you're a CTO or CIO dealing with technical implementation gaps, if you're a CEO trying to understand AI's real business impact, if you're responsible for innovation strategy and you feel foggy on agentic AI, this is targeted at you. The $2.3 trillion adoption gap we mentioned, that's being felt most acutely by executives in mid to large organizations in highly regulated sectors.
So financial services, healthcare, insurance, heavily regulated sectors where AI compliance isn't optional, but also any organization where C-suite alignment on AI strategy has been elusive. What's the practical barrier, though? 7 days away, training, personal mentorship? This isn't cheap, right?
The program is $6,000, which seems like a significant investment up front. But here's the ROI math. If this retreat accelerates your AI deployment cycle by even a few months, or improves the ROI of a single AI initiative by 20 to 30%, it pays for itself immediately. We're talking about a $2.3 trillion opportunity, and most organizations are leaving money on the table because leadership can't articulate strategy clearly or understand the technology. That's expensive. A week to transform how your executive team thinks about AI? That's potentially one of the better strategic investments you can make.
Fair point. So the real cost is the cost of not doing it, staying stuck in that 28% of executives who understand the strategy but can't implement. One last thing. Is there follow-up support after the retreat ends, or do participants go back to their organizations and figure it out?
That's a great question. And from what's outlined, the golden prompt stack and the personal mentor relationships created during the retreat don't just evaporate. The governance frameworks and roadmaps participants develop are meant to be living documents. They're starting points for implementation that continue when you return. Whether there's formal ongoing support, or it's more about the peer network that's formed, the retreat creates the foundation. You're not left hanging. You're leaving with artifacts and a 90-day plan.
So the real takeaway for listeners is this. If you're in leadership, if AI ROI is a strategic priority for your organization, and if you're feeling the gap between ambition and execution, there's a program designed specifically to close that gap. And it happens in one of the most interesting settings possible. For the full details on the AI Vision Quest Finland program, including curriculum specifics, mentor backgrounds, and how to apply, head over to EtherLink AI and check out the complete article. Thanks for joining us on EtherLink AI Insights, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Alex. Listeners, if you're wrestling with how to scale AI in your organization, this is worth exploring. See you next episode.